Jambalaya is a dish that truly speaks from the heart of Louisiana. It tells a story of our culture and our history. This wonderful one-pot meal has roots stretching far back. It was born from the diverse influences that shaped our unique cuisine. Think of the Spanish who brought paella with its saffron rice and mixed ingredients. Then consider the French with their love for rich stocks and aromatic vegetables. Add to that the resourcefulness of African cooks and the bounty of the Caribbean. All these elements came together in the bustling port city of New Orleans and the surrounding bayous, creating something entirely new and utterly delicious, a true melting pot in a dish. The exact origin of the name jambalaya is debated by food historians. Some believe it comes from the French word jambon, meaning ham, combined with ale, meaning in the style of, and ya, an African word for rice. Others suggest it's derived from a Provençal word, jambalaya, describing a mishmash or a mix of rice with poultry. Regardless of its precise linguistic roots, the spirit of jambalaya is clear. It is a dish of abundance, of making something wonderful from what you have. It is a celebration of community, often cooked in large pots for gatherings and festivals, bringing people together with its comforting aroma and satisfying taste, a true taste of southern hospitality. Early forms of jambalaya likely emerged in the 18th century. Louisiana was a place where different cultures met and mingled. Cooks adapted European dishes using local ingredients. Rice was plentiful, growing well in the humid climate. Tomatoes, peppers and onions were readily available. And of course, there was an abundance of seafood from the Gulf and proteins like chicken and sausage. These early versions were probably simpler than what we know today, but the core idea of a hearty rice dish packed with flavor and local ingredients was already taking shape. It was food for families, food for communities, food that nourished both body and soul. Over time, jambalaya evolved and diversified. Two main styles emerged, Creole and Cajun. Creole jambalaya, often found in New Orleans, typically includes tomatoes, giving it a reddish hue. Cajun jambalaya, more common in the rural parts of Louisiana, usually omits tomatoes and gets its rich brown color from browning the meat. Both versions are delicious and both reflect the specific culinary traditions of their regions. Our jambalaya fish today will lean towards the vibrant flavors you might find in a Creole kitchen, but with the flexibility to make it your own, just like any good Louisiana cook would. Jambalaya is so much more than just a simple rice dish. It is a cornerstone of Louisiana's culinary identity. It represents our ability to blend diverse cultural influences into something uniquely our own. When you make jambalaya, you are not just cooking food, you are participating in a tradition. You are connecting with generations of cooks who have shared this dish. It is a meal that embodies warmth, generosity, and the joy of communal eating. In Louisiana, jambalaya is present at nearly every celebration, from Mardi Gras parties to family reunions and casual weeknight dinners, always bringing a sense of comfort and festivity. The beauty of jambalaya lies in its adaptability. There is no single, rigid recipe that everyone must follow. Instead, it is a dish that encourages creativity and personal expression. Families often have their own treasured versions, passed down through the years. Some might add smoked sausage, others prefer chicken and andouille. Seafood jambalaya with shrimp, crawfish or fish is a coastal favorite. The type of rice, the blend of spices, the choice of proteins, all can be adjusted to suit personal taste and what is available. This flexibility is part of what makes jambalaya so beloved and enduring. It truly is a dish for everyone. Understanding the cultural significance of jambalaya enhances the cooking experience. It is important to appreciate the history and the people behind the dish. Each ingredient tells a part of the story. The holy trinity of onions, bell peppers, and celery forms the aromatic base, a fundamental element in both Creole and Cajun cooking. The spices cayenne, paprika, thyme add layers of warmth and complexity. The rice absorbs all these wonderful flavors, becoming plump and delicious. Preparing jambalaya is like weaving a tapestry of tastes and textures, each thread contributing to the final masterpiece, a dish that is both humble and grand. The spirit of jambalaya encourages using what is fresh and local. Here in Louisiana, we are blessed with an abundance of incredible ingredients. Fresh seafood from the Gulf, flavorful sausages from local butchers, and vegetables from nearby farms all find their way into our jambalaya pots. This connection to the land and water is essential to our cuisine. When you cook jambalaya, try to source the best ingredients you can find. This respect for the ingredients will shine through in the final dish. It makes the meal more meaningful and, of course, more delicious, truly honoring the spirit of Louisiana cooking. When making jambalaya fish, the choice of fish is very important. You want a fish that is firm enough to hold its shape during cooking. It should not fall apart too easily into tiny flakes. A fish with a mild to moderate flavor works best. This allows it to absorb the rich flavors of the jambalaya base without being overpowering. Think about fish that you might use in a hearty stew or a chowder. These types of fish generally have the right texture and taste profile for our delicious jambalaya, ensuring each bite is a delightful experience. Some excellent choices for your jambalaya fish include redfish or red drum. This is a classic Louisiana fish, prized for its firm texture and slightly sweet flavor. Catfish is another wonderful option, especially farm-raised catfish, which has a clean taste. Grouper or snapper are also good choices if you can find them fresh. Even cod or halibut can work well in a pinch, though they might be a bit more delicate. The key is to select a white fish that is relatively lean. Avoid very oily fish, as their strong flavors might clash with the jambalaya's delicate balance. Always try to buy the freshest fish possible. Look for fish fillets that are firm and moist. They should smell clean, like the ocean, not fishy or ammoniated. If you are buying whole fish, check the eyes. They should be clear and bright, not cloudy. The gills should be a vibrant red. Freshness is paramount when it comes to seafood. It makes a huge difference in the final taste and texture of your jambalaya fish. Don't hesitate to ask your fishmonger when the fish came in or for their recommendation for a dish like this. Before adding the fish to your jambalaya, make sure it is properly prepared. Cut the fillets into bite-sized chunks about 1 to 1.5 inches thick. This size ensures the fish cooks evenly and is easy to eat. You can lightly season the fish pieces with a little salt, black pepper, and perhaps a pinch of Creole seasoning before adding them to the pot. This helps to build another layer of flavor. Remember, the fish will be one of the last ingredients to go in, as it cooks relatively quickly, so have it prepped and ready. To create a truly memorable jambalaya fish, you need a good set of ingredients. Let's start with the aromatics, the foundation of our flavor. You will need 1 large yellow onion finely chopped. Then grab 1 large green bell pepper, also finely chopped, and complete the holy trinity with 2 stalks of celery, finely chopped. These 3 vegetables are absolutely essential in Louisiana cooking. Also, gather about 4 cloves of garlic, minced. For a little heat, you might want 1 or 2 jalapeno peppers, finely minced, with seeds removed if you prefer less spice. These fresh components build the aromatic soul of your dish. Next, let's talk about the spices and seasonings. You will need about 1 tablespoon of Creole seasoning. You can buy a good quality pre-made blend or make your own. It usually includes paprika, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, cayenne pepper, oregano, and thyme. Also, have on hand 1 teaspoon of dried thyme and half a teaspoon of dried oregano, if your Creole blend is light on these. A couple of bay leaves will add a subtle depth, and of course salt and freshly ground black pepper to taste. Don't forget a pinch of cayenne pepper if you like an extra kick of warmth. For the liquid and the body of the jambalaya, you will need 1 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Some people prefer to omit tomatoes for a Cajun-style jambalaya, but for our fish version they add a nice brightness. You will also need about 4 cups of good quality chicken broth or seafood stock. Seafood stock would be wonderful if you can find it or make it yourself. Then the star carbohydrate, 1.5 cups of long grain white rice. Make sure to rinse the rice well before using it to remove excess starch. This helps to keep the grains separate. Finally, our main protein, about 1 to 1.5 pounds of firm white fish fillets. As we discussed, redfish, catfish, grouper or cod are good choices. Cut these into 1-inch chunks. You might also consider adding about half a pound of peeled and deveined shrimp for an extra seafood dimension, though this is optional. A little bit of cooking oil, like vegetable or canola oil, will be needed for sautéing, about 2 tablespoons. And for finishing, some freshly chopped parsley and green onions, scallions for garnish will add color and freshness to your plated dish. Section 5. The foundation of flavor: preparing your holy trinity and spices. The first step in building any great Louisiana dish is preparing your aromatics. This means chopping your holy trinity, the onion, bell pepper and celery. Take your time with this. You want a relatively fine chop so the vegetables melt into the dish and release their flavors effectively. Dice the onion evenly. For the bell pepper, remove the stem, seeds and white pith before dicing. The celery should also be diced to a similar size. This uniformity in chopping ensures even cooking and a pleasing texture in the final jambalaya. It's a meditative process, the start of something good. Once your Holy Trinity is prepped, move on to the garlic and any optional peppers like jalapeno. Mince the garlic finely. You don't want large pieces of garlic that might burn or be too strong in one bite. If you're using jalapeno for a bit of heat, remember that most of the spice is in the seeds and the white membranes. Remove them if you prefer a milder warmth or leave some in for a spicier kick. Always be careful when handling hot peppers. Consider wearing gloves and wash your hands thoroughly afterwards. These pungent ingredients will add another layer of complexity. Next, gather and measure out your dried spices. This includes your Creole seasoning, dried thyme, dried oregano, and bay leaves. It is good practice to have all your spices measured and ready before you start cooking. This is called mise en place, a French term meaning everything in its place. It makes the cooking process smoother and more enjoyable. You will not be scrambling to find a spice jar while your vegetables are sautéing. Having them ready ensures you can add them at the perfect moment to bloom their flavors in the hot oil and vegetables. Finally, prepare your rice. Place the long-grain white rice in a fine mesh sieve. Rinse it under cold running water until the water runs mostly clear. This step is important because it removes excess surface starch from the rice grains. Removing this starch helps prevent the jambalaya from becoming too sticky or gummy. It allows the individual grains of rice to remain more separate as they cook and absorb the flavorful broth. Once rinsed, let the rice drain well in the sieve while you begin the cooking process with your beautifully prepped vegetables and spices. Section 6. Building the base, sautéing, simmering and infusing flavors. Now that all your ingredients are prepped, it is time to start building the flavor base for your jambalaya fish. Find a large, heavy-bottom pot or Dutch oven. A cast iron pot works beautifully for jambalaya as it distributes heat evenly and retains it well. Place the pot over medium heat. Add about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or any neutral cooking oil. Let the oil heat up for a minute until it shimmers slightly. This indicates it is ready for your first set of ingredients, ensuring they sauté rather than steam, which is crucial for developing deep flavors. Once the oil is hot, add your chopped Holy Trinity, the onion, bell pepper and celery. Stir them well to coat with the oil. Cook these vegetables for about 8 to 10 minutes. Stirring occasionally, you want them to soften and become translucent. The onions should look a little glassy. This slow sautéing process is crucial. It coaxes out their natural sweetness and builds the foundational layer of flavor for your jambalaya. Do not rush this step. If the vegetables start to brown too quickly, reduce the heat slightly. We are aiming for soft and fragrant, not caramelized at this stage. After the Holy Trinity has softened nicely, it is time to add the minced garlic and the optional minced jalapeno. Stir these into the pot and cook for another minute or two until they become fragrant. Garlic burns easily, so keep a close eye on it and stir continuously. You just want to release its aroma, not brown it. Once the garlic is fragrant, add your measured Creole seasoning, dried thyme, dried oregano, and a pinch of cayenne pepper if you're using it. Stir these spices into the vegetables and cook for 1 more minute. This step is called blooming the spices. Cooking them briefly in the oil helps to intensify their flavors. Next, stir in the can of diced tomatoes, including their juice. Add the bay leaves as well. Cook for about 5 minutes, stirring occasionally. Allow the tomatoes to break down a little and meld with the vegetables and spices. The mixture will start to smell incredibly aromatic. This simmering period allows the flavors to marry and deepen. You're creating a rich, savory base that will soon welcome the rice and fish. This careful layering of flavors is a hallmark of good Louisiana cooking, turning simple ingredients into something truly special and comforting. Section 7. Cooking the rice and fish to perfection. Timing is everything. With your flavorful base simmering, it is now time to introduce the rice. Add the rinsed and drained long-grain white rice to the pot. Stir it gently but thoroughly for about 1 to 2 minutes. This step allows the rice grains to get coated with all the deliciousness in the pot. Some people say this toasting of the rice helps it absorb flavor better and maintain a good texture. Ensure every grain is glistening with the seasoned tomato and vegetable mixture. This brief sauté also helps the rice grains remain distinct during the simmering process, preventing a mushy outcome. Now pour in the 4 cups of chicken broth or seafood stock. Stir everything together well, making sure to scrape up any flavorful bits that might have stuck to the bottom of the pot. Bring the mixture to a gentle simmer. Once it is simmering, reduce the heat to low. You want the liquid to be barely bubbling. Cover the pot tightly with a lid. It is very important not to peek or lift the lid for the next 15 to 20 minutes. This allows the rice to steam and cook properly. Resisting the urge to stir is key to perfectly cooked rice in a jambalaya. After about 15 minutes of covered simmering, it is time to check the rice. Quickly lift the lid. Most of the liquid should be absorbed and the rice should look mostly cooked, with small craters or steam holes on the surface. Now gently nestle your prepared fish chunks and shrimp, if using, into the rice. Try to distribute them evenly. There is no need to stir vigorously at this point, just place them on top and slightly into the rice. The steam and residual heat will cook the fish perfectly. The fish cooks quickly, so you don't want to add it too early. Replace the lid tightly and continue to cook on low heat for another 5 to 7 minutes. The exact time will depend on the thickness of your fish pieces. The fish is cooked when it becomes opaque and flakes easily with a fork. Be careful not to overcook the fish, as it can become tough and dry. Once the fish is cooked through, turn off the heat. Let the jambalaya stand covered for another 5 to 10 minutes. This resting period allows the flavors to meld further and the rice to finish absorbing any remaining moisture, resulting in a perfectly textured dish. Section 8, Chef's Secrets, Tips and Tricks for Jambalaya Excellence. One of the secrets to a truly exceptional jambalaya lies in building layers of flavor. Do not just dump all your ingredients into the pot at once. Sautéing the Holy Trinity properly, as we discussed, is fundamental. Blooming your spices in oil before adding liquids also makes a big difference. Consider using a good quality smoked sausage like andouille, even in a fish jambalaya. You can dice it and brown it before you sauté your vegetables. The rendered fat from the sausage adds an incredible depth of smoky flavor to the entire dish. Just a little bit can elevate it significantly. Another tip for achieving that authentic Louisiana taste is to use homemade stock if possible. While store-bought chicken or seafood stock works fine, a homemade stock made from shrimp shells or fish bones for seafood stock or chicken bones will add an unparalleled richness. It takes a little extra time, but the results are worth it. Also, do not be afraid to adjust the seasoning. Taste your jambalaya base before adding the rice, and then taste again carefully after the rice is cooked. Adjust salt, pepper and cayenne to your liking. Good seasoning is key to any great dish. To prevent your rice from becoming mushy, always rinse it thoroughly, as mentioned earlier. Also, resist the urge to stir the jambalaya after you have added the rice and liquid and brought it to a simmer. Stirring can release starch and make the rice sticky. Use long-grain white rice. It holds its shape better than medium or short-grain rice in a dish like jambalaya. And ensure your pot has a tight-fitting lid. This traps the steam, which is essential for cooking the rice evenly. If your lid is loose, you can place a layer of aluminum foil under it to create a better seal. Finally, a little trick for extra flavor and a beautiful finish. Deglaze your pot. If you browned sausage, or even if some bits of the Holy Trinity stuck to the bottom of the pot, called fond, you can add a splash of stock, white wine, or even water before adding the bulk of your liquid. Scrape these browned bits from the bottom with a wooden spoon. This fond is packed with concentrated flavor. Incorporating it back into your jambalaya will make it taste even more complex and delicious. It is these small attentions to detail that separate a good jambalaya from a great one. Section 9, the grand finale, plating your jambalaya fish like a pro. Presentation is the final flourish that can elevate your homemade jambalaya fish from a simple meal to an impressive culinary statement. Even the most delicious food tastes better when it looks appealing. For jambalaya, you want to convey its rustic charm while still making it look elegant. Start by choosing the right serving vessel. A wide, shallow bowl is often ideal. This allows the vibrant colors of the jambalaya to be showcased and makes it easy for your guests to enjoy every component, from the fluffy rice to the tender fish. When you are ready to serve, gently fluff the jambalaya with a fork. Try to distribute the fish pieces and any shrimp evenly throughout the rice. When spooning the jambalaya into the bowls, aim for a generous but not overflowing portion. You want to create a sense of abundance without it looking messy. Try to get a good mix of rice, vegetables and fish in each serving. If you have some particularly nice-looking pieces of fish or shrimp, make sure they are visible on top, not buried under the rice. Garnishes are key to professional plating. Freshly chopped green onions, scallions and flat-leaf parsley are classic choices for jambalaya. Their bright green color provides a beautiful contrast to the warm tones of the dish. Sprinkle them generously over the top just before serving. A small wedge of lemon or lime on the side of the bowl not only adds a pop of color, but also allows guests to add a squeeze of fresh citrus juice, which can brighten the flavors wonderfully. A tiny dollop of crème fraîche or a mild hot sauce could also be offered on the side. For an extra touch of elegance, consider the details. Wipe the rim of the bowl clean with a damp cloth before serving. This small step makes a big difference in the overall presentation. If you are serving family style from a larger pot or platter, arrange the jambalaya artfully and place the garnishes strategically. Remember, the goal is to make the dish look as inviting and delicious as it tastes. With these simple plating techniques, your jambalaya fish will not only satisfy the palate but also delight the eyes of your guests, making them feel truly special.